Hey, what's up? Welcome back, party people. Welcome back to the podcast.
Hey.
This is Fresh Goods. Over there is Nick, Year One, and myself, Jaira. We're your hosts today.
Hello.
And what are we talking about today?
We're
Yeah, one.
talking about Roman empires.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
let's
please
give
elaborate.
a context
Yes.
because when we were planning this, I literally was like, let's talk about our Roman empires today. And Joe was like, what's a Roman empire? That's when you know. That's when you know
Know
you're
what?
getting up there.
Hey, come
the
on
digits
now.
are getting up.
Wow,
You know what I mean?
bro.
The three is coming.
What's with this shade?
But
Damn.
anyway, so for those that don't know, a Roman Empire is pretty much, so where it came from is there was a question of, it was like a TikTok trend for the girls, and it was like, go ask your boyfriend how often you think about the Roman Empire. And so I actually asked him, and he was like, yeah, I actually think about it really often. And I was like, why? And then actually, what did you say? Why do you think about the Roman Empire
I
so
just
much?
think about how crazy of a ruler Julius Caesar and like all the emperors, not emperors, the empires
Yeah.
have been in the generations of like, because the Romans were massive
Mm.
and they conquered like a lot and they
Mm.
did a lot. But then I was just interested to see how they ruled and how they did it and why they were so successful for so long. And then how they fall. I think the fall is always really interested.
Mhm.
Because it's always really interesting, right? It comes from inside. I mean, Jara and I grew up like nerding out on Troy, you know, that kind of stuff. Like,
Love it.
it's so interesting.
Is
and-
Troy the one with the horse?
Yeah, the Trojan horse.
Troy is Greek though.
Yeah, but that kind of like vibe
Yes.
in terms of like, I've just been really interested to see how empires fall.
Mm.
But also
Anyway.
how they sustain. But
Yeah.
I could go on forever.
Anyway,
Preach.
yes, anyway.
And then pyramids as well.
Anywho.
Oh my
Preach.
god.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started on pyramids. That he was fully into that for a bit. But anyway,
Aliens, man.
Yeah.
so for guys, apparently they think about the Roman Empire like a lot. And then for girls, apparently it's so different. Apparently it's ex-friendships, like whether it was lost or like it just kind of grew apart because of distance or anything. So I guess like the whole concept is, what is the thing that you think about all the time, like unprompted pretty much? And that is today's topic. What is your Roman Empire?
But the Christian version.
Yeah, but
Christian
make
version.
it Christian.
But
Christian
make it-
version.
Your Christian
Little-
Roman
little
Empire.
salt,
Yeah,
a
Christian
little spice,
Roman
you know?
Empire.
Put a little bit of Jesus in there.
That's it, of course.
So we're gonna start with Gyro.
Oh, we're gonna start with me.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm actually really excited because I haven't listened.
We
I
actually
haven't heard
don't
this.
know.
Yeah, we didn't plan this beforehand. It's all like natural, organic conversation
Come
right now,
on.
guys. Okay. Okay. Well, I do. Okay. Give me a second.
Okay.
Let me collect my
Okay.
thoughts. I didn't know I was
Sure.
going first, but
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
that's okay. We'll wing it. I would say for me, I do think about death sometimes. But that leads into something else, right? So
Okay.
like death, and then I feel so small. You know, those moments where you just feel small, like wow, everyone around me is gonna die. I'm like, anyways,
Oh,
and it
okay.
just becomes a whole thing. But
Okay.
but then I also think about like life afterwards. You know, like heaven,
Yeah.
and I get these. I remember telling this to Joven, and Joven's like, "You have some weird thoughts, man." And I was like, "Well, you got to think
Wait,
about these
what?
things, you know." But the thought I had was like, "Okay, this. I don't know if this will offend anyone.
Hey, no judgment zone.
Sorry, Jesus, if this. I don't want. I mean, I'm not trying to blasphemy or like do anything like that, but." I thought about heaven and I thought about what it would be like. And I think a lot of the time people would say it's like us singing songs and praises to God. And for me to do that for eternity, I was thinking about that. I was like, do I want to do that?
I was like, you're like, dang, that's a long time.
Yeah, like, do I want to do that? Or, I mean, like, obviously there's a lot of different things. Like, you know, time is irrelevant there. You know, we're just living. We're just doing life.
Just floating.
Yeah, we're just floating. And there's a lot of things to think about the afterlife. You know, I would also think like, sometimes I would think, oh, I really hope I'm believing in the right God, or I really hope that after this there is a heaven. You know what I mean?
It's
like
that state of crisis kind of.
yeah, it's like, but I always try to reassure myself and know that, oh well, the things I've seen in this space, you know, believing in God, trusting in God, like God's led me to really good places and stuff. But even though that reassures me, thinking
There is
I
still
do, it
that,
still lives in my
yeah.
head rent free. Like I
Yeah.
still think about it. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna die. What's life after that? Will I still
Yeah.
know the people I know? Will we be able to hang out like we always do? You know what I mean? Like, will we forget? I would always ask my mom, like, what would it be like? And my mom was like, well, I might not even know you anymore. I'm like, wow, mom, that's really dark.
Wow.
Like, you know, it's like different. Like with like, will our memories be erased? Probably not. I don't know. But there's just so many questions. No one's really knows this
That is
answer. You know what I
true.
mean? There's so much uncertainty about it. And that makes sense because we're not meant to know everything. But You know what I mean? It's kind of like there's no one that's gone before us to tell us, oh yeah, this is what it's like. You know, I've been to
Yeah.
Singapore and Singapore's great. You know, it's like
Yeah.
no one's been to heaven and, and back and be like, yeah, it was good.
I mean, there are like stories supposedly they died
Allegedly,
for like
right.
30 minutes, they went to heaven and they came back kind of thing. But I'm like,
Yeah.
anyway, keep going, sorry.
I mean, like, are we gonna live in a little like nice houses? Is it gonna be like Willy Wonka? Like,
I mean, it says streets of
we're gonna-
gold.
yeah,
You
streets.
know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like I guess, yeah, like. But if I hit my head on the gold, will it hurt me? Like,
Oh my God.
no. I just thought about that just then. I don't think about that all the time, but it's just like
Just now.
it's kind of just thinking about what heaven would look like. And
Right.
yeah, it's just would it look like the Good Place? I don't know if you watched that, but the Good Place. Oh wait, spoiler alert! Cover your ears if you guys actually watch it. But it's actually the bad place. But anyways, you know, it's kind of like, dude, is it gonna look like that? Is it gonna like what is it? It's probably nothing like what we've like kind of conceived the idea of in Earth and the time that we're living. Sorry, I'm nerding out right now because my words are. But yeah, literally that's what I think about
That is your Roman
sometimes. Like
Empire.
I just be sitting there and then like death.
Oh.
Heaven. You know, like what does that look like? You know what I mean? Oh wow!
I can imagine you sitting in your room alone on your desk chair, like.
I mean, it literally happens like that. I'll be like even scrolling on Instagram, like, what am I doing with my life? I gotta live my life, you know. So,
Oh God.
yeah, these are my unfiltered thoughts that I don't talk about often because obviously, you know, someone said my thoughts are weird, but that's all right, Joven. But
Joven.
yeah, he's a good friend.
I feel like that's a normal thought.
I mean, if you ever felt alone in those thoughts, you're not alone today. Okay, I also think those thoughts. It's normal.
No, I get it.
Right?
Because-
I feel like everyone has that.
I mean,
thought.
everyone would think about it eventually. Because, I mean, it's like the book that we're reading now. It's a couple in the Bible about, I can't even say the book.
Ecclesiastes.
Yeah, there. Like, the guy literally starts with, what's the point in living? Because we're all going to die anyway.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's
And
very
he's like-
depressed.
But then,
And-
yeah,
And he experienced like everything, you got everything. And then if you cherish it so much, you want to hold on to it, then that becomes an idol. So
Yeah.
then at the end of the day, it's like, what's the point? Because the only thing you cannot cheat in this life is death.
yeah.
So then so it makes it really sad and depressing. And that's all, like, that's what I think about, right? It's like, why try? Because we're going to die anyways, you know?
yeah.
But-
it gets better, by the
It
way.
does get-
Towards
yeah.
the end
No,
of
no, but, like,
Ecclesiastes, he
that's
finds
not-
God.
That's
Like,
a good ending.
But the thing is that, like, yeah, like, I do think about it too. Because sometimes you're like, how does it feel to actually fade away to die?
Yeah.
Like, do you just go, is it a feeling like going to sleep? Or does it hurt hell bad? But even though for us looking at someone dying, it's so short that we don't really
Yeah.
feel it. But is that like insane amount of pain for like 5 seconds and then you're just darkness?
okay, that
You know?
actually kind of leads into my Roman
wait,
Empire.
okay.
Wait, okay, go,
Let
go,
me
go,
No,
go,
but
finish
go.
we're
off.
still talking
But
about his
yeah.
though.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
discussing
yeah,
his
yeah.
though. But, and I do get it, like after, right? It's like, am I going to open my eyes and I will still have my like consciousness? Like that's what I
Thoughts,
think
yeah.
about, right? And am I
Yeah.
floating or
Yeah.
walking?
Uh-huh.
And then at the same time, it's like, I don't know, are we going to drive or not drive? Or we're just going to walk
But do we
everywhere?
need to drive?
We'll probably
Because how
fly.
big is but then how big
Oh
is
my
heaven,
God, that'd
though?
be kind of cool if we
Or
could
teleport,
fly.
right? So I need to go drive, so bang.
True.
You know, like how big is it?
Yeah.
Because it has to be huge. Because if
Yeah.
it's like thousands and millions of years of people already,
Mm.
like how big is it? But
Mm.
no, I just think or if it's not, then if all this was not real and you know, and all this stuff, our faith is like fake, all these things, do I just close my eyes because I die? And then when I open my eyes again, it's just my next life. You know, don't you think about it?
Like
a baby as a
reincarnation?
kid. Yeah, kinda. You know,
Oh.
if that's really just it, because from us, like I don't know, I think about it. It's really weird that for me, it's like we're all seeing in first person, right? So then, what happens when we close? Like, there has to be something else, or we just go into our next life and we just not think about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my random tangent from that.
I get
When I think about after dying,
Yeah,
it's like what?
I see.
it umbrellas like a lot of other little thoughts in
Little,
there. You
yeah,
know, like
little-
what Nick said, like, oh, what's death feel like? Is it painful? Is it painless? You know, I think about sometimes like when old people they say they're tired and they just want to rest in peace. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
things like that. And it's like, will I come to a point where I feel that way as well? Or because right now, if I think about death, I don't want to die really. Like, you know, like
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
kind
I
of,
can wait.
it can wait a little
Yeah.
bit. You know, I got some time on this earth still to do things. You know, but you know, it's like, will I come to an age where like I think it's time? You know, it's like, does it feel the same way as like leaving a ministry? You know, it's like I think it's time. There's peace in my heart to go.
Oh God.
You know what I mean? Like, is it like that?
Yeah, no, I get
Let's
it.
not compare those
Okay,
two.
but yeah, no, but
I know, but like,
I get
it's
it, I
like
get it.
that's
how
the
he
most
thinks about it,
comparable
right?
thing
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can
yeah.
find in my mind
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now. Yeah.
But I think it really pushes me because when I do think about that, I mean, it's not my Roman Empire, but when I think about that, it actually makes me go like, man, do I actually really believe in God and that this eternity is the one for me? That because you hear people preach about all the time, it's like I already know that that's the life that I'm looking for. For me here, this is my training, my grind. To like when I go, then I'll be enjoyed. So I'm keen, you know. I'm like, wow, I really cannot say that I'm keen, but at the same time, it's like it pushes me to be like, do I really believe in this faith right now? When I think about that. And it it scares me a little bit because it's not always a straight yes, right? Because you're like deep down in your heart, you're like, I know that this is it, but then when you think about that, it's like, oh man, I instead of going, I know, I go, I hope, I hope that this is So
And like just the last thought as well is like going back to my first point is like if we're singing praises all day, all night long, it's like, is it bad of me to not want to do that or feel like I'm not looking forward to that? You know what I mean? Like, is that a sin?
but okay,
I
but
don't think so. Like,
I actually had a random thought like that as well, quite a lot actually.
good.
But then, sorry, I kind of cut you off.
It's okay. You
Okay,
go.
well, for me, it was more when I thought about that because I think maybe me not wanting to do that is actually part of my sinful nature.
Yeah,
and so
that's what I
when
was
that
thinking,
goes, that is maybe actually what I would want to do. Or to, not just do that, but praise God with all my homies next to me. Like that is like, because now.
Acapella. Sorry,
Yeah,
I cut you off.
but
Yeah, go on.
Nah, but I'm just saying like that is what I feel like it could potentially be. Because all the things that we want now, right? Watch good shows, like lay around, sleep around, all these things are like not natural to what God intended us to do.
Our
and be.
design. Yeah.
And so, but because of our sinful nature, that's why we want all these things. But then without it, maybe that's actually what we would want to do.
I think that's just genuinely the weight of sin that we just don't realize because we've never lived without it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, thinking about it this way, the way that I just described it your way, it's a lot better than me freaking out going like, I'm just going to be a robot and just worship and sing,
No, for
like,
sure.
in terms of what Jared's saying, like, you just
Yeah.
Because sometimes in worship, you've got 6 songs sometimes, it's quite long.
Yeah, my knees start hurting.
Yeah, 5 songs.
I'm
5
kidding.
songs, I'm like, wow.
Oh, I'm not really kidding,
Yeah.
but...
I mean, the knee painting, I relate.
yeah, that's actually kind of real.
But yeah.
God.
But yeah, I mean, those are my thoughts. I hope
Nice.
that was coherent because I was kind of babbling
Okay.
on a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was beginning to breathe, so I'm catching my breath now.
Nice,
But
sit.
yeah, next.
okay. I'll end like your little segment
ahead.
with this. Okay, the one thing that I like found really sad is like, let's hope that none of us die before we get married, right? Okay, touch wood. Okay, none of us die before we get married. So, because technically, if you go to heaven, you are in covenant with God, not with your partner. So your concept of marriage, actually, you're not technically married to the person that you'd be married to when you go to heaven because your covenant is renewed to God. So you just wouldn't be
Our
married.
marriage is vetoed.
Correct. So do we just divorce when we're in heaven? Like, or does it just, flow up?
It's like,
And
like, do relationships even...
right? Like, do you even
form in
remember
heaven?
loving them?
Yeah, that's what
so
I think about all the
sad.
time.
That's so sad.
That's part of that. It's like, oh, wow, all that time on earth for nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Well, we don't really know.
And low-key, I like think about like...
Are you talking
we
about your
gonna-
Roman Empire now?
No. Okay.
Okay.
I low-key think about like, am I going to see Simba like when we get up there? Like,
Simba's my dog.
It's,
My
pet
golden
heaven.
retriever.
I wish, like, I'm really hoping there's a section of like heaven where we like get our pets when we die. We pick up our pets. Anyway, moving on. My Roman Empire is actually very similar, but okay, kind of similar, but not. And the moment I say this, I already know people are going to be like, oh my God. Blah, blah, blah. So my Roman Empire is Rapture and end times, right? So I used to never think about this. I used to never ever think about it because it's like, it's very overwhelming. And recently, I actually had a dream. Should I share it?
Well, I don't know why you're looking at me because I don't know it.
You do.
Oh, I
I've told
do.
you.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, you know it, right, Nick? Yeah, you know it. Yeah, go ahead.
share it. I reckon you should.
Yeah.
Anyway, I told you.
Yeah, he
What was it about?
remembers.
Okay, you tell
The
them.
rapture. People falling and stuff, you know? Yeah. People getting beamed up.
My dream was pretty much like, okay, long story short, in my dream, I woke up next to my room, there's a window, and I saw the Trinity, their faces, and it was so bright I could barely see. And then I heard the horn, and then like the next scene was pretty much like me, like in like a living room or in a dining room with my family, and I pretty much just thanked my family for oh no, hang on, before that I heard the audible voice of God said, "I'm going to take you first, my daughter." And then the next scene was me in the dining room with my parents and my siblings, and I just thanked them for being my family. I told them I loved them, and God just took me, and I literally felt my body die and my spirit just ascend. And it was the most peaceful feeling I've ever felt. I genuinely thought I died in real life, because the moment I woke up, and this is the scary part, is the moment where I ascended in my dream and it was complete darkness and I felt as if I was in a waiting room and I began to doubt. That's when I woke up. I remember in my dream, I was like, oh, like this is it. This is it. And I was like, wait a minute in my dream, because I was like, this is it. Right. And then the second I began to doubt, I woke up. So I was like, I woke up and I could not move for like full on hour. Like I was just frozen. I just could blink, sort of thing. And then I kind of just prayed. I kept praying until I just fell asleep again. And I kind of forgot about the dream again. Fast forward a couple of days, like I kind of just didn't think about it, but people kept bringing it up into my life. Like people in my life just kept bringing it up, like whether it be my youth kids or like just people in my life just randomly brought it up. And then the other day, okay, not the other day, then after that, I saw, hang on, sorry, I'm babbling, but the next couple of months after I had that dream, I had been really like battling with this concept of social media. I don't know why. I just don't know why. I felt disgusted by it a little bit. So I was like, but then like I have a platform low key on Instagram and TikTok. So I was like, what do I do with that? Do I just disable it, or do I just like, like get rid of it? What do I do? So then this is still an ongoing thing, by the way. So I don't know what to do. And then pretty much at night, a couple of months later, I saw this girl and she pretty much was saying like, oh, like I had a dream, and it was like the second coming of Jesus, and people were looking up at the heavens, and it was pretty much a huge sign of meta, like the infinity sign. And then she was going on about like how like, oh, like people are like gonna believe in the second coming of Jesus, and it's gonna be like social media and and I low-key was like, oh gosh. And then I was too overwhelmed and I just didn't think about it again until kind of now. And then after that, my grandma actually came, and she's like she's one of my spiritual figures and leaders in my life, because she's very like that. I love how silent you guys are right now.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you go on.
Sorry. And we were just having a normal, very nice brunch. I was like, Grandma, tell me about your life. Like, tell me about like your favorite dishes. Like, it was very light brunch conversation. And then she suddenly brings up end times. And then she goes, oh, like, because she's very young. Like, she's kind of young for like a grandma. And so she goes, oh, like, yeah, I remember when I first came to the Lord, which is like later on in her life. She was like, oh, yeah, like I felt very peaceful. And I felt like the world was very, like the world was in a very flow state, like in a very like it was just stable. That's what she said. And then she said, but recently I've been hearing God telling me like, okay, I've begun the countdown. And she told me that during brunch, and I was like, he's begun the countdown? And I just kind of freaked out at brunch. And I haven't been able to stop thinking about that since.
A countdown.
Yeah. So I was like, oh.
You're telling me your grandma knows when?
Huh? No, I don't think she knows when. I think she's just like, I don't even know. To be honest, like, I don't know how to feel about it. Sometimes I'm like, but then sometimes, like, because like I'm reading the news and like things are happening. And then recently there was like 200 Palestinian men that all had the exact same dream and came to Jesus. So I was like, and all
Oh.
these things. I feel like things just keep popping up in my life where I keep having to think about this. And it's very stressful.
I get you.
I'm not on any side. This is just things that are happening to me and I don't know what to do with it. If anyone knows what my dream was, feel free.
Okay. I mean, I think on that topic of rapture, like what reassures me is that you will never know when. Like
true.
these things happen, right? And they've been happening for many years now. Israel and Palestine have been fighting for years, decades,
years.
centuries,
Yeah.
from the beginning of time. That's all I'll say on that. By the way, you can't quote me otherwise. Don't come for me.
Come for Jar.
Like just a lot of different things. 2012 was meant to be the end of the world.
Yeah. And I do think about this stuff. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, like, you know what? Every generation has their own little, like, oh, like it's going to be rapture and everything. But I'm like, then the other part of me is like, oh, okay, but like, it does kind of have to happen like sometime. But then like most of the part of me is just, let's just not think about it because it's just too scary. It's just too much. It's not scary. I don't think it's scary. But it's just a lot.
It's only scary we get left behind.
Yeah, look, I'm hoping like Jesus takes me the first round.
Yeah,
like,
same.
I'm just hoping
I got my ticket punched right now.
Like, look, I'm like, Jesus, please take me first round.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
That's funny. Like you brought up a childhood memory of mine where I watched this movie about the rapture and people was
in your
like
childhood.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know where I watched this movie, but it was I can't remember what the lead actors were, but
Okay.
what happened was people just getting raptured, disappearing, and their clothes were getting left behind. So they're on this plane,
so they, like, poofed.
and then this old lady's like, "Excuse me, I think my husband's like he needs some help," and he's like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And the cabin crew, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, what happened?" It's like, "Well, I think he left all his clothes on the seat, kind of thing." So it's like all his clothes are there. So like people started disappearing around the world and became a thing on the news. Like, oh, people are disappearing all their clothes. Whatever. Anyways, that's the little context to why I'm telling you this is because I did that to my mom. I tried to prank my mom. So I tried to like put all my clothes on the ground and I just ran off. Yeah, let's just say it didn't work.
Oh, okay. At least it didn't work.
Yeah, my mom didn't. Nah,
At least it didn't work.
she's like, "What's this stupid boy
What
doing?"
is this punk doing?
Yeah.
She probably saw you running away.
Like a little naked ass little boy.
No, I had my
running
underwear
away.
on. That's why maybe it wasn't that convincing. I didn't commit.
Yeah, when I think of the rapture, I think of
gosh.
is it Seth Rogen and that movie
Oh my.
of the end of the world with all the movie stars, they're
Oh,
all actors.
yeah,
and then
yeah,
people
yeah,
just
yeah.
read they're like stuck and they had to try to do good, but then they just
Yeah, I remember that.
I can't remember what the name of that movie was, but that's pretty much it. But I think for me, it's like with the end time stuff. I mean, my parents keep talking about it as well. I feel like the previous generation loved talking about it.
love it.
Talking
But
about
then
it,
I think for
loves
me,
it.
it's just like whether if they are right or wrong,
It's gonna happen someday.
I just don't want to think about it because then I'll be so fixated on
Yeah,
that. Then you
that's
miss
right.
the whole point of the faith and everything else anyways. So that I just try to do my own thing. And then hopefully, we all get punched at the same time and go up in the first round. If
That'd
not,
be kind of cool.
if we don't, then sad. Then I guess we'll see what happens.
But I mean, that kind of just also leads to what we talked about earlier. It's like, well, we remember each other. Well, I
Yeah,
remember
that
you.
was
See,
all
that's
that
sad.
stuff.
That is sad.
Yeah.
Look, there's
But
a lot.
it's a sad time, and we will only know when we know.
That is true.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But I get it. I think for that stuff, it's just crazy. I mean, you do see so many things happen, right? All the prophecies in the Bible, thousands of prophecies in the Bible that have just all come and all happened.
Like some of them have come to pass.
No, not some.
A
Thousands
lot.
of
A
them
lot
have
in-
come to
well, in
pass.
the context
Not
of
all of them
many.
yet. So maybe in my mind, I'm like, maybe there's thousands more to go. So maybe it's not near yet, Or
Yeah.
maybe it's already happened, but people don't even know
True.
or see. So I was like, there are so many things you can go into and
You know
like,
what? Sometimes I'm like, you know what? Maybe like Jesus like took his time doing like the first couple of thousand, and then the end, the end couple of thousand, he's just gonna bam, 1 year done, and like jigsaw.
You never know. But I think I just try not to think about that
Yeah.
stuff. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
I think for
wow.
me. But I guess for mine,
Yes, last one. What is
Mine
the Roman
has-
Empire?
I mean, because I do think about, okay, more yours related than yours because that stuff just whatever. Just freaks me out. But I think for me is, this is weird, but I always wish, or I think about like, what would it feel like being able to heal people?
Oh.
It's weird, but like, cause you always hear it. We hear people like stories. We've seen stuff happen.
Like growing an arm
But then,
back and
yeah,
stuff
like you
that.
hear that, you see it, but then but I've never seen it in person. And I
Mm.
really want to, because I know that I can still say that I believe that it's real, but I just never seen it, and I wish that I had it, like, had to be able to see it happen, right? But I also know that, you know, even if I see it happen, that will always still be there regardless, because it's such a crazy thing. And we're in a situation now where we know so many people that are really sick, unfortunate, really young, you know, like it's just, and for me, I'm like, man, if only I had the power. You know, I wonder what it feels like to be
Yeah.
able to do that. Yeah, like, I mean, the power comes in,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like, but yeah, I don't know why. That's just something I always think about. I wish that for the people I care about, people around me, that I had the ability that God just blessed me with, so I can
Aw.
like boom, 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 you know, because right now all we just see is this, and now because we're older now, it's
I
coming,
feel like
you
it's
know.
more prevalent. Like we see it more than we would have like
No, but
five-
it's like
even 5 years
weird. I
ago.
don't know where it switched for me, but it was like growing up, I was like, I'm gonna live for years. You know, I got
I'm
such a long life.
invincible.
I think it was 25. 25 was downhill for me
Oh,
when I'm
God.
like, I'm not gonna live forever now. I'm actually gonna die one day. And then it started from there, and then now it's like, oh my God, I'm almost 30, so I'm actually gonna die now.
Wait,
And then
what?
no, that's how my brain works. Like,
Oh,
it's not
okay.
dying now, it's in like it's coming, you know, like there's no more, I'm so young, I can enjoy, because now you're like aware of, I don't know, like cancer, you're aware of like all these things that can happen in your body,
Very
all these
scary.
sicknesses, like all these blood tests you gotta do, like all
That
these
is
things
true.
come now, and then you're like, wow, here you go. And then for me, I'm just like, yeah, and I just think that recently, or not even recent, just in the last few years, like healing has been a huge thing where I'm like,
Mm.
I really wish I get to see it or something and happen. You know, I wish that even if I'm not the one, that people around me are able just to get that. So to really, yeah, I wanna know
Experience like true
experience it and
healing.
feel
Yeah.
like what it is, because
Yeah.
we always hear about all the gifts, right? You get to be able to like prophesy, interpret tongues, like all these things, and I feel like those things we see so common, but then healing, it's like
I think the most
it's like, where is it at? You know?
yeah. I
And so
thought the
that's
most
always in my
uncommon
mind.
one was like interpretation of tongues.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
those two. But I think for me, if I could see one, it's like, yeah, because nowadays, well, I guess the church that we're in or people that are around, we don't really practice tongues as much anymore, anyways, or not as intensely as what I was used to in the past. And so, yeah, I don't know. For me, it's just a weird one. Trying to go away from the
Oh,
death and
wow.
end times. It's just more like, it's just
Healing.
healing. I don't know why. It just really gets to me.
Kinda
I wish,
wholesome.
I mean, Maple Story, I was a cleric once.
Oh my
You know,
God. You know
because
what? That's
in party,
actually what I think about. That's when I think about you thinking about healing. I think about you like doing this and like you're like Tony Stark for like a second, and
It is
then
a
you're
vibe.
healing.
But yeah, but I reckon it'd be cool. Like, I just wish I had that gift and I know what it feels like to be able to do it. Like, is it something where you're like, I know I have this, I can go? Or is it God's like, this guy? And you're like, boom. And then God's like, this guy, boom. And then God's like, not this guy. It's like, oh. You know, like, I wonder what it feels like and how would you know, you know? Or is it all just a faith thing where you're like, God, I just have faith, and then that's what it is. So
I'm sure you can ask. You can ask for giftings.
I know, but it's like, I mean, I have asked for so many. I asked for a good voice, a deeper
That's not a
voice to make me
gifting.
sound like a man. Nope.
That's not a gifting.
No, but I've asked for a lot of things, you know? So whatever.
Yeah, you know that's not the same.
I like, look, for me, I also try not to ask too much because I'm like, look, if God's going to give it,
Oh,
you know, I try to. I just ask a little bit and that's it. I won't keep going. But that's just mine, pretty much.
Yeah, wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, healing.
Wow.
Yes.
We went from.
Did you see that coming? No?
No, but
I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't, but I guess I do think about that sometimes. Not a lot, but it's kind of like when you look at things heal and you're like, what? The question that comes to my mind is like, why did God heal that person
Yeah,
and
but
not the person
that
next to them?
person,
You know,
yeah.
why did God grant this but not that? It's like, yeah, maybe we do know the answers, you know, or maybe we don't. I don't know, but like sometimes you do think about those things, and I'm just like, oh. I mean, that's a bit off tangent of like how it feels to heal someone,
But
it's
just
within the realm
concept
of, healing,
of like
yeah.
just healing in general. Like, because is it all just, I don't know. Like, you've seen like all those cases at a hospital where literally person on deathbed and then something happens. Next day, they're like, good, you know? You hear all those things where like every doctor and everything, it's like clinically just like, it's over.
And it's actually
And then
called Lazarus syndrome.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's
he
just
just
like, next thing you know,
raised from the
he's
dead.
back.
Yeah.
Like, and I know that that is something that is supernatural, or and it makes me wonder, like, or is it something that is in our natural body that we just not advanced yet to understand why certain things just happen? Like, what if this guy has a certain gene or something that was just able to just kickstart again and jump and go? I don't know. Maybe that's something that we have not researched yet, or it's actually like God. It makes me think about it.
Interesting.
Wow.
Because I wish that it was more frequent or something that we get to see and celebrate, you know?
It's true.
But yeah.
Well, this has been very insightful, guys. I
So
didn't know that
interesting.
you think about death to that extent.
I thought I shared about this before. Like,
I mean, you have, but I feel like not to this extent. I feel like you haven't really like gone, full gung ho on it. And I didn't know you were thinking about healing all this time.
Yeah, because as you guys know, I'm growing older and my knees don't work right now, my back and everything. So I do think about
Okay.
that a lot, actually.
Okay. And well, yeah, I guess that's our Roman empires, guys. Hope
there
I
you
don't
go,
know
Yeah.
if you guys relate somehow. Comment down below. What's your Roman Empire?
Yeah, Yohan said this was going to be light.
Look,
We started with death.
Sorry, I mean, you are.
maybe we shouldn't have started with that one.
That's the truth. I mean, I'm not going to
the
lie to the
truth.
people.
It's the
Yeah.
truth.
But yeah, okay. Well, that's the episode, yeah.
All right, see you.
Yeah, okay.
Bye.
Adios. Stay fresh.
Stay